Hi, everybody. I hope that you're all doing okay right now during these really, really weird times that we're in. I know that we're doing pretty good over here. We're doing pretty well. I'm very lucky to be quarantined and stuck in the house with some pretty fun people. Love my kids and Ted. It's been okay. But I do have hard times, especially in the evening. That's when it seems to get a little more difficult for me when everything quiets down and I have a chance to think probably more than I should. And I've been trying to do different things to help me with that because I think for all of us, our mental health is just as important as our physical health right now while we're somewhat housebound. One of the things that I did was I freshened up my ancestral altar. That's here behind me. I did things a little bit differently this time. I included Ted's family as well as my family. And I felt that it helped me to have that all of my peoples and his peoples were with me right now and helping us through this. It's a comfort. And I think that we all do this. A lot of times you're not even realizing that we have little altars set up around our house. Ted and I have little altars everywhere in our house. A lot of times people will come in and think, oh, that's pretty, or that's an interesting thing you have there, but they don't realize that it has a purpose. We don't, believe it or not, we don't do things randomly. There's a method to our madness. So this ancestral altar that I set up has been a great comfort to me. And I bet you, without even realizing it, you have something like this at home too. I was talking to my mom today, and she told me that she put a little picture and an old perfume bottle of her mother's, my grandma, on her dresser recently, and it's been a source of comfort for her. Um, I did the same thing, just a little bit more. And if you'd like to give this a try, I wanted to give you a few tips on doing this. There really aren't any rules to this. If you belong to a certain tradition or you are trying to work with your ancestors for a specific reason, there could be a little bit more to it, a little different ways of setting things up, things to include, how you would honor them, what you might offer them. So that does vary. But really there's no right or wrong. It's your family. And I think it's important to connect to them, especially now, especially those who have gone before us, because, they have a wisdom and they've lived through some things as well. And that can offer us some comfort and perhaps advice too that we can get from them. So, some of the things that you would want to do is to collect any photographs you might have, mementos that you may have, um, I have a plate here that I can put offerings on, and teacup. This tea set was something that my grandmother made. So that's hers, and also she made it. And it gives me a place to put offerings. Like when we have dinner or something, I can put a little bit of food out or put something out to offer for them. For Ted's family, I have things like the Indonesian doll here, the Chinese fish. I have bamboo shoots growing. I like to add living things to the altar too to keep it fresh, keep it literally, quite literally alive. The African violets that I put up, those are important to me not only because they're beautiful, but both Ted's grandmother and my grandmother had gorgeous African violets. They always kept those in their house. So that's something that connects me as well. Some of the things that I added are much, much older that represent ancestors that I don't even know their names. They're nameless, faceless, part of my DNA, but no longer part of my consciousness. So I've added this stone over here that has really ancient markings on it. This was a tool that was used in God knows when, very, very old. The oil lamp that is out. That's something that is a great thing to add to your altar too. The lamp is symbolic of the light and lighting their way to come to see you. Candles for sure. Add some candles to that. I've burned all my candles down and I need to go get some more. So currently, that's one thing I need to freshen because I've been lighting them. I don't keep them lit all the time, but I light them for certain times, certain reasons, maybe to have them help guide a soul that I know is crossing over, or to help them find their way here and find their way into our home, into our hearts. So there's really no right or wrong way to do it. Find the things that comfort you, gather them together, have them group them in a way that it is pleasing, that's beautiful. You don't have to be an interior designer, but do it with intent. It's like, it's kind of like you want to clean your house before you have a favorite guest that's coming over, or you want it to look nice when your mom stops by. It's the same idea. Use some intent, be purposeful, make it beautiful. Let them know that you honor them and you treasure them and you're welcoming their presence. And I've had people ask really valid questions. Two things. One is, what if you're adopted and you don't have any idea who your family is, who your DNA is? That's okay. You can still do this. You don't need pictures. Maybe you know who your family is, but you don't have any kind of mementos. You don't have any photographs. You still can set something up in memory of them. It can be as simple as a glass of water and a candle. It's your intent. It's, you go about and have a place to go to meditate, to think on them, to ask questions, to be thankful for their existence, because that's what got you to where you are today. Another question that's come up is, maybe your ancestors are not your favorite people. There are lots of people that have trauma in their lives, and the last thing they want is to remember those things and to invite the people that have hurt them back into their lives. In which case, you don't do that. Don't bring those things up, especially at this time when things are, they're hard right now with everything that's going on in the world. But you can still have an ancestor altar, because I guarantee you there is somebody in your line. You may have to skip a few generations. You may have to go back to behind those people that have hurt you to find who that might be. And maybe you want to leave it open. Maybe you don't know them. You can leave it open. And again, simple as glass of water and a candle. Don't have anything specific out there, but just say, hey, thanks for surviving, thanks for thriving, whatever they may have done to get you to this world so that you have a chance. It's your turn to maybe do better than they ever did. And like I said, I don't have rules. I don't think of a lot of rights and wrongs. I do have a couple of guidelines for you when you're setting something up. If you're really sensitive to hearing or seeing, and your ancestors are very present in your life, quite literally, they can make some noise in your house, interrupt your dream space, whatever it may be. My suggestion is you don't put one in your bedroom. Don't necessarily set one up on your nightstand right next to your bed. And if you're trying to get some sleep, and they may end up getting really excited and coming in and being real noisy and interrupting your sleep. So it might be best to keep it away from where you sleep. Again, that's up to you. You know your family the best, but I would suggest that not, keep it somewhere away from where you wanna sleep. The other thing is don't put any photographs of living people on your ancestral altar. You may have a favorite photo of, say, your dad and your grandma together, but your dad is still alive. Don't use that photo. Find a photo of your grandma by herself, or cut your dad out of that picture and then put the photo up. It's just best not to maybe speed anything along that you don't want to have happen right now. So keep only the dead on your ancestral altar. But these can be a great great source of comfort. I'm in our dining room right now, and dining rooms and kitchens to me are very much their ancestral space, probably because food, and Ted and I, food is love. And we love to eat, we love to cook, we love to share food. And so it makes sense for me to have this in my dining room, because then when we sit down to eat, it's like we're all eating together. And I have all of my family around me, not just my immediate family. It's also a space that I walk by all the time, because it's the dining room for our house here is right between the living room and the kitchen, and we're always going to the kitchen. So I'm passing by this all the time, and I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking of them, and I'm remembering, and it's a really great source of comfort for me. And hopefully it could be for you too. So think about perhaps gathering a few things together, lighting a candle. You can make it simple, you can make it elaborate. It doesn't matter. Make it yours, it's your family. And hopefully they can provide, if nothing else, the feeling of a hug and some safety and some reassurance when you're going through crazy times. Give it a shot. Hope it helps. Thanks for listening.